Hello, friends. How are you? Hello. I just looked at my event and I was supposed to read 115 instead of 1, so I apologize for that. An imperfect beginning to one of my first events for the year, so I apologize. Hi, Svetlana. Hello, Angela. Hello again, I should say. Angela and I did a class this morning. Let me see if I can share this in a few places. Hi, Bonita. Where am I here? I'm going to share this in a few places, and then I'm going to talk about a legacy of lack. It sounds so foreboding, doesn't it? If you know what it is and you know how to work with it, it's not all that bad. It's something you can fix and adjust. Okay, let's see, there I am there. And on my personal page, why not? What time is it where you are, Svetlana? It's probably very, well, I think you guys are what? 12 hours ahead? I'm not entirely sure. Okay, sharing. My mouse isn't working. Okay, so we are talking today about something I feel very passionate about because of my own personal journey. It's 12 a.m. Okay, so you guys are 11 hours ahead. Wowza. So what's really interesting is on my journey to uncovering my money story, meaning my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs, my overall story, the overall narrative that I told myself for years about money and about wealth, on my journey to kind of uncovering that and excavating, like pulling out these bits and tidbits that were keeping me in limitation, that were keeping me in lack, keeping me in want, there were some really interesting excavations along the way of doing that. Some of the stuff was surface level stuff of, you know, the fear of having more money and not being able to be responsible with it based on behaviors I had in the past around money burning a hole in my pocket so that I would want to spend it right away. There's always like a deeper thing to unravel there, but when we start looking at our behaviors and seeing how we sabotage ourselves in a lot of ways, there can be a lot of surface stuff there that we can fix right away. Underneath that, however, there may be a deeper story. There may be a longer kind of legacy or history of a reason why you do the things that you do around money and wealth. It's late there for you too, Angela. I know you're up late, darling. I love it. I love that you're up late watching me. So what was really interesting for me to uncover was being able to kind of go in and look at some of the deeper things that I felt were going on that I kind of didn't have any control over. Meaning, we have sometimes through our ancestral legacy a blemish, an imprint, maybe even sometimes a scar on our DNA, on our very cellular programming for how we behave, how we show up in this world. And that's especially true when we're talking about money. And when you are thinking about something like a legacy of lack, let's take a couple of things into account here. That first off, if you are, let's just say, really good at looking at, maybe you've excavated some things around your money story, kind of had some very helpful revelations that helped you to stop a certain self-limiting behavior or thought or feeling that you had around money, and you're able to change that for the better. And let's just say money was coming in. Let's just say that you were starting to do okay. Maybe you had an increase in your income level. Maybe you got a raise at work, or you manifested some surprise income. Maybe you have your own business, so maybe that meant more clients rolling in. Whatever that is, sometimes, even though we do this deeper work, we kind of turn the corner, we have this more money coming in, but we feel like, something just ain't right. Like it doesn't feel right to fully receive that money. It just doesn't sit well with us. Like it's nice to have the money coming in, and once the initial afterglow is over, hi Saphira, of calling in that next level of income, whatever it is, if we're honest with ourselves, and sometimes we're not, and this is why a legacy of lack can really bite us in the ass. If we're honest with ourselves, sometimes when that happens, we feel like, there's something still not right here. Why doesn't this feel okay? Why doesn't it feel okay for me to receive this money? Why does it not sit well with me? Why does it make me uncomfortable? Why does it make me feel like I'm itchy and not comfortable in my own skin, and I just want to get rid of this money? Or I want to get rid of then maybe this behavior that is allowing to bring in more money. And so we end up sabotaging ourselves because of something that is probably very deeply held on an unconscious level. Meaning we're not consciously checked into maybe the fact that we have an ancestral lineage that has maybe suffered through lack and want and suffering and struggle maybe for generations before you. Now, I don't want you to get overwhelmed by this, because what I like to do is be able to show you, you know what, here's what's going on, but there's always a bigger story. There's always a bigger story, and that's especially true when it comes to money. I like to be able to open people's eyes up to ideas that there may be bigger reasons or bigger mechanisms, programs at work for why you're not making the money that you would like to make, for seeing the income levels growing at a nice, even, consistent pace in your life. I mean, this should be something that is a process that happens throughout the rest of your life, that gradually, and it's part of our abundance blueprint, by the way, our divine soul blueprint of abundance, to constantly experience a consistent up-leveling in our wealth and our abundance. It should be something that is a progressive expansion. And if for you, if it is not, there may be this deeper thing going on for you, this legacy of lack. And when I really started looking at, okay, well, when my money story really changed in about the middle of last year, 2018, I really started making a lot more money in my business. I was being very conscious, very mindful of my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs, my behaviors, and my self-sabotage program, because we all have one. And if you don't know what that is, you need to get in the Wealth Consciousness Collective, because believe me, I will help you with that. I became really aware of these patterns, and I was doing the work. I was showing up, and I was clearing things, and I was making more money. But I got to this point where it's not like it was too big of an up level or too big of a leap forward with my income level. It wasn't that kind of uncomfortability or discomfort. It was more like, I'm making this consistent money, but I feel like I'm betraying someone. I feel like I am dishonoring or being disloyal to someone. And so being an energy healer, of course, I wanted to go deeper in this and take a look at it from my inner world. Okay, so I did a shamanic journey, actually several of them, a series of them, where I would journey to the lower world and commune with my spirit animals and have a real journey through my ancestral legacy, through generations that came before me. And I uncovered some really interesting stuff. I uncovered some deep loss and grief on my paternal grandmother's side, from the family that she came from, I think at first there were something like 11 kids, maybe even more than that, and this was my great-grandmother, her children. So literally my paternal grandmother's brothers and sisters came over from Ireland to the U.S. and suffered such a great loss with the kids many of the kids, more than half the kids, becoming sick. Some of them had tuberculosis, some of them had physical impairments, things like that, and they got sick coming to this new country. It's very shocking coming into a new country, especially at that time. You know, there weren't a lot of vaccinations at that point. There weren't any, actually. And so my great-grandmother lost more than half of her children within a very short time. I'm not clear because this was an energy journey, but within a very short time, within a small span of a few years, lost more than half of her kids. And back then, your wealth, or your ability to kind of create wealth, was kind of dependent on your kids because, let's face it, if you had a farm, you were putting your kids to work on that farm to help you. Basically, you know, they were your farm hands. They were helping you to run the business of having this farm and being your help, doing all the chores, doing all the things so that it could boost and bolster the entire wealth of the family. So if you lose that ability to, let's just say, generate wealth or generate more money for the family, it's devastating. And then it's devastating on a different level because this is your progeny that somehow very quickly, more than half of them are gone. Very, very devastating. And then that's just my paternal side. And so on the maternal side, there was another story of devastation. My paternal grandfather is Polish, and his father came from Poland. And there was a history of a lot of loss, sorrow, grief, sickness. I mean, the stories were very tumultuous, and talk about emotional upheaval galore. I mean, it doesn't even compare to anything I've ever experienced in my lifetime at all, but it's in my DNA. There is an ancestral link to that legacy. And when I started to kind of heal the wounds in this lifetime of my ancestry, my connection to my ancestors, this was another shamanic journey that I did, and I did other kinds of energy activations around this too. And I started asking about, well, how do I heal this? How do I heal this in the legacy? How do I, repair this scarring on my DNA and everyone in my family's DNA, by the way, and everyone going forward? I don't have my own children, but my brother's kids, my nieces and my nephews going forward who carry this DNA from my ancestral lineage, I can clear it for them going 7 generations backwards in time and forwards in time. And so I did receive instruction on how to do that. And this was really, really powerful for me because things shifted very quickly when I did this healing. I did a lot of forgiveness. I gave kind of an out to those who were still kind of wounded in the ethereal, even though they have passed on from this physical plane. There was still wounding in their ethereal imprint that I could repair and heal. And when I did this, not even 3 weeks later, a major financial windfall came into my life, and I mean a major financial windfall. And it was the money that I had been asking for to receive additional training, additional coaching. I was able to hire a private one-on-one mentor that cost me $5,000, and at the time that was huge. I've never invested that much in coaching, with one-on-one private coaching, not even in a group program, really. That was the most I'd ever invested. And suddenly everything just felt okay. It felt okay for me to have money. It felt okay for me to spend money. It felt okay for me to, save money, which I never really thought I could do before. And I would find ways to just get rid of it because it didn't feel good. It didn't sit well with me to have the money, to have it sitting around, to put it in a savings account, to put it in an IRA, whatever that is. It just didn't ever sit well with me to have extra money, because there was such a huge imprint in my ancestral DNA on both sides of my family of this kind of use it up, wear it out mentality, having to, as soon as money comes in, have to spend it on this thing, have to spend it on that thing because there are things that are needed for survival. This was very much imprinted on my DNA. And when I started excavating this stuff, I was realizing just how much of that affected my life on a daily basis. This was really eye-opening for me. And when I just came off the heels of teaching the first round of Wealth Consciousness Collective, we just finished the last week of December. We talk about this lack mentality and in our ancestry, but it's talked about very briefly in there. But when I'm getting ready, as I'm getting ready, I should say, to teach it again on February 1st, it's when we start the next round of the 8-week group program, the Wealth Consciousness Collective. I'm going to be taking everything that I learned and brought through on this several shamanic journeys and a lot of energy healings and activations, bringing this information through to create an activation for the group. Because each time I teach a new class, I always bring something new into it. I bring some more insight, another level of healing, whatever that is. So this is the level of healing that I'm bringing in for this next workshop, is to work a little bit more on the legacy of lack. Because if I had this level of purging, of catharsis around my ancestral legacy of lack or want, suffering and sorrow and grief and loss, and when you think, we've got it pretty easy these days. When you go back even 3 generations, sometimes even 2 generations in your familial lineage, especially if you're talking about the Great Depression. I mean, my grandmother, who grew up during the Great Depression, had this mentality of use it up and wear it out. She passed that on to my dad. And my dad tried to pass that on to me. But we really don't live in this world anymore where we have to suffer and struggle to survive and get through. We can actually play a different and way more fun game with money now than we've ever been able to, because we finally realize consciously and we connect to this idea that we are very, very powerful creators of our reality. And what I teach in the Wealth Consciousness Collective is exactly that. This idea that we are working with the 5D paradigm of creating anything. And that money, as we've come to know it, believe in it, strive for it, it's really kind of an illusion that we've been, this lie that we've kind of bought and sold to ourselves, and we can't win at that game. And we found this, and I definitely discovered this when I looked through our ancestral DNA, that our ancestors were playing a game of money that they could never win. There was always some level of power being held over them to some degree, but we don't live in that paradigm anymore. Everything is shifting. Everything is changing. Everything is expanding. But we still do have this imprint on our DNA right now, right here in this lifetime, in our daily lives that we live out day in, day out. We have this imprint, this scarring, if you will, on our DNA, sometimes going back even 2 generations, but we can heal it going back 7 generations in our legacy. Tammy Lip says, collective illusion. Absolutely, money, and the idea of money is a collective illusion, no doubt about it. And we were all buying it and selling it back to ourselves over and over again, aren't we? So this is the next layer or level of healing. So those 27 members that are already in the Wealth Consciousness Collective, they're set, they're ready to go. Because also every time I teach a class, it's kind of a once a member, always a member kind of deal. So when you sign up and you join a class, like not all of my courses, but many of them, when you join a course, a program, a group program like the Wealth Consciousness Collective, once you're in, you're in. So the 27 members that joined in October, they're going to be coming in and joining for the next round on February 1st. So they just get to take everything that they've done in that first round to a deeper level. Because the way I teach and the exercises and support, the lessons that I share, they're meant to be evergreen. So every time you come back to this material, these exercises, these calls, these lessons, you have an opportunity to just level up, to scale up to that next higher level of income for yourself. Because it works on all the same stuff. But when we're starting to make more money, we're working on just like deeper layers. We're like melting more layers of that iceberg away so that we can get at the deeper stuff that's keeping us from going to those higher levels of expansion. So once you're in, you get to join for life. And I'll be teaching this course probably 2 more times in 2019. So every time you come back, you get to up-level even further with your money story. And it's a great way to have ongoing support in this group of other people who are on the same journey as you to heal not only your legacy of lack, but to heal your feelings around money, your thoughts, your beliefs, your stories that you keep telling yourself about money that are keeping you in a place of limitation, of lack, of scarcity, of poverty, of want. This idea that we have to struggle or suffer from money, that is an illusion also. We do not. And actually, when you learn how to play this way more fun game of playing with money, and yes, it is very much play, you get to realize how much fun it can be to be this creator of new levels of wealth, because you're working with a whole new system, a whole new operating process for you to bring in money, higher levels of income into your life. And so the Wealth Consciousness Collective works on so many more things than just this legacy of lack. But I'm excited to share this meditation with you guys because it is powerful. And when I saw how much it really shifted everything in my story and taking me up literally to 2019, and I realized, having looked back on 2018 and seeing how much I cleared, how much I allowed myself to open up to, how much I allowed myself this place of expansion, how much I allowed myself to receive this level of expansion after I did this clearing, especially the legacy of lack clearing, it was kind of mind-blowing to me, because it all seemed to happen pretty much from June on. So in half the year, I almost tripled my income than I've ever made in years past, which is pretty insane. And I'm working on quadrupling it for this year. The people who were in the members of the group, the Wealth Consciousness Collective, some of them doubled their income over the holidays. Some of them brought in a lot more clients, those who had their own businesses. But I'm working with people even who don't have their own businesses, and they saw major upshots in their income levels that were tremendous. And if you want to read the testimonials, I will put the link to my Facebook page that tells you all about the Wealth Consciousness Collective. You can read all of the amazing and incredible testimonials from people who were in that first round with me. It's pretty amazing. And one thing that I tell my clients, and they kind of get sick of me saying it because I say it over and over again, is that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So when you start really looking very intently and deliberately at your money story, you realize how much this fragments off into all different areas of your life, so that when you start changing your money story, literally everything in your life starts changing. It's really powerful. So we start on February 1st. The next round starts February 1st. We're going to be doing it on Zoom. This time around, it's going to be audio lessons for 8 weeks. There are really powerful exercises. The members in the group will tell you right here, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't do the exercises. You have to do the exercises, do the exercises, do the exercises. They also get sick of me saying that. But it makes such a tremendous difference. And really positive shifts can be realized very, very quickly when you do these exercises. They are powerful. They're not the easiest thing to tackle right away, but they do open up a lot of insight and wisdom, and allows you to see exactly where you are with your money story, what needs to shift. And you get really clear on what it is that you want. And you get steps on how to move forward into that right away. We are all business in this course. We move into the material right away. We get to work right away. So it was really funny. Last time around, people joined. Like, some people had money shifts before even the class started. They got into the group, started taking advantage of some of the bonus activations, and there was the beginning exercise, and people started experiencing shifts in their money story, literally tangible results, seeing more physical money coming in before the class even started. It's a very powerful container of transformation. And the last day to get it for the early bird price is this Saturday. So if you need more convincing, I don't know why you would, but I'm going to be talking tomorrow live about this course. I'm going to be talking on Saturday about this course, and I'm going to be giving you some things to kind of look at and think about over the next 2 days. So if you want to join me right here on this page, I'm going to be going live at 1 p.m. tomorrow, 1:15 p.m. tomorrow, and 1:15 p.m. on Saturday. Last day to get early bird pricing of $397, which is worth every penny, and then some, is Saturday. After that, it goes to $497, which is still a colossal, colossal value. So get in on this legacy of lack meditation. If I'm speaking to you when I say this, that you feel like there is something going on that's deeper than you can see or know or feel about your money story, maybe you've gotten a little bit ahead before with your money, and then something always kind of pulls you back to that same threshold. There's probably something deeper going on, this imprint, this scarring in your DNA from an ancestral legacy of lack. We can heal this, we can clear it. And it's not just an energy activation, there will be an exercise that goes along with it, just like with all the other audio lessons and calls. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. I want to wish you so much love and peace. I'm going to have the link to join. There it is right there. Ascending Earth Creatrix, the last comment there has the link to read all the testimonials for the Wealth Consciousness Collective and to join right there on that page. So come and join us, come and play. It's pretty amazing, and it's an amazing group of people. Just an amazing, amazing, amazing group of people. You will love them. They're very supportive. Okay, bye-bye.